You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV, Channel 4. I'm Kait Burgan. Oh my gosh. I think this is going to be an interesting show. How you doing? Wow! She's totally freaking me out. That is Randii Andii. She doesn't kill herself. She's our guest on this edition of The Daily. That was not planned or scripted. I'm going to roll with it anyways and see if we can pull it off. Also coming up on this episode, we're going to check in with some horseback riders in Quesnel. That's our edition of Big Summer. Dan Kahn introduces us to a 53-year-old kickboxer who has been professionally fighting now for 5 decades. Canada's only. We're going to head to the Comox Valley. Habitat for Humanity is up there. You okay? Habitat for Humanity is creating homes, building homes for 6 families in need. What else have we got going on? She's just a little bit distracting over there. Melissa Hall has some driving tips. Todd's laughing behind the camera. Is she okay?
I think so.
She's all right, all right. We'll ask her if it's okay to run with this. Before we do any of that, we're just going to relax a little bit and do some acupuncture. Here's Jocelyn Matwee. Are you really all right?
I shouldn't wave while I'm riding a bicycle.
You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're now inside the sewing room, the costume room, the tickle trunk, if you like, backstage of Randii Andii's life. She was the lady on the bicycle out front. Your costumes are absolutely fabulous. This is the one that we saw on the bicycle, and you've made this by hand?
Yes.
Tell me a bit about your process and the scavenger hunt you must go on.
I made these out of plastic bowling ball toys from the Toys R Us, and all of this is old gay porn. Okay, I probably can't say that on
No,
TV.
sure you can. Why not? We'll warn you now if we haven't already that nothing Randii Andii does is PG. We're going to try to sort of keep it family friendly for today's show, which might be a little bit of a challenge. So bear with us and just go with the flow. So this is something you've made as well that you're wearing.
Something that I've made as well. Obviously, I killed a lot of chickens.
The necklace you found in Courtney.
Necklace I found in Courtney at a cowboy store. Country, western, weird, sparkly things, I guess. So,
okay.
My kind of style.
She seems so modest about, I mean, these are fabulous creations.
Thank
We'll
you.
get into some of the performances and the musical comedy of Randii Andii later in this edition of The Daily, but right now we're just looking at the creations. Do people ask you to design costumes for them?
I've been asked, yeah.
Yeah? Are you open to that?
Yes, but it's a big process, so I like to usually make things for myself.
Okay. Show us a little bit of what you've got back here.
Okay, what's back here? Some fabulous shoes that they were nice when they started, but they were much nicer when I painted them and glued to them.
Okay, we're going to do some bleeping out here. Absolutely, that's all right. We're going to see this later. Let's have a closer look at this flower headpiece. Wow.
This is, I like, I get inspiration from really weird spots, and I'll just run around and see what I can find. And this is a bunch of dollar store feather dusters.
Right.
It's glued onto a visor.
And you can
that
see.
you wear backwards.
It's so creative.
It works great. It's big and flowery and colorful and looks awesome on stage. So.
Now you're a female to female drag queen.
Pretty much.
And people just love it.
Absolutely.
It's very crude. We'll get into, I'm sort of going in a different direction now because we said we were going to talk about the performance aspect of Randii Andii later, but a big part of her performance is the costumes, of course. And I'm thinking of our friend Michelle Kaiser in The Gypsy Mermaid, who would love this kind of stuff too. Let's go through your closet, your rack here a little bit. This you wore in Victoria.
This one I just had made for me actually because I'm not really good with fabric.
Can you pull it out, please?
Yeah.
There you go.
Todd wants to see if it'll fit him. You think this would fit Todd?
Probably. Be a little big in the chest, but I had this one made from a woman down in Chemainus, Echo Designs, and it was for the Victoria Gay Pride Parade. And it actually, I'd love to put this one on because it's got snap buttons, so it comes off really quickly.
Oh, okay.
And I wear this underneath.
Did you make this?
I made this. I made the bra.
Now, your background is in architecture
Yeah.
and design
Yes.
of buildings.
Yes.
How long have you been designing clothes? Because that's what you're doing here, is you're designing fabulous, fabulous clothes.
I guess since I started, I've been throwing all sorts of crazy stuff together and seeing what works and what doesn't.
Now, when you say started, this is sort of a segue into talking about Andii's performances. 2006, was it?
2007.
2007, and you started in a karaoke bar, a regular bar?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, about 2007, I started in a karaoke bar, but I entered a contest as Dolly Parton. So everyone else was dressed normal and singing normal country music, and I was Dolly Parton.
How much, do you like singing better than dressing up, or dressing up better than singing?
Oh, both. They go hand in hand. I don't think I'd do one without the other.
Okay. And then you took this Dolly Parton to the 2007 Canadian Idol, and you made it.
I did.
They thought you were a little crazy, though?
They thought I was nuts. They told me they thought I was completely insane. I wore this one to Canadian Idol with a nice blonde wig, feathers and glitter. So
it surprises me because they've seen some pretty nutty stuff on Canadian Idol.
Well, I think they weren't expecting me to be able to sing.
Okay.
They thought if you dress up in a costume, you're going in there as a joke. But I was going in there just, I like the dress. But I could sing. So I think they were surprised.
Okay, we haven't heard Randii Andii sing yet on this edition of The Daily. We don't actually know how we're going to share that with you, but we're working on it because, like we said, nothing she does is PG. She's released a CD. There are 5 titles on it. She's the queen of parody. These boobs are made for bouncing. That's the only title that is appropriate to actually share on television. So we'll try to figure out a way to come back. She bouncing over there. Come back and share some more of Randii Andii's talent here with you on this edition of The Daily. In the meantime, we're going to head up to the Comox Valley. Habitat for Humanity is building some homes for local families there. But first, here is your driving tip.
You keep staring right at my cleavage, thinking that it's love, but confess, you just wanna see my big old...
Hey, we actually probably should cut it off there. This is Randii Andii. You're watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. That is a small part of one of the cuts off her recently released CD, Randii Andii, In Your Face. There are 5 cuts on the song. The only title we could even say here and not get in trouble or offend anybody, which we don't want to do, is These Boobs Are Made for Bouncing. So you can visit Randii on her website, www.randiiandii.ca. Now, you love performing. You love singing. You've been dubbed the queen of parody. What inspires you to take a song and then just dirty it up?
I have a dirty mind.
Where does that come from? Is it
My
just...
parents are filthy.
Really?
Absolutely.
Do they come and see your show?
Yep. Yeah, they do. Well, my mom does. Yeah, my mom does. My parents met in a wet t-shirt contest. That should say enough.
Todd's laughing. Just getting a little crazy. You just performed at Yuck Yucks.
I did.
And you were actually one of the milder performers there.
It was a little weird. Normally, I'm the most risque, but I was a little bit on the tame side over in Vancouver, apparently.
You haven't... The audiences are responding very well to you.
Yeah.
You're going to launch a tour soon. You've got a date in September. I think it's the 21st out in Coombs. You can check our website for upcoming performances. But people just embrace the dirtiness.
I think so.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think we're not offended?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's the way that I say it, because I smile when I say something raunchy, and it's more acceptable.
So you're being a little bit of a tease.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're acknowledging that you've maybe pushed a line a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Oh, I'm crossing the line, but I'm waving and winking at it, and people are okay with it.
Awesome, awesome. Now, one of the things we talked about off camera before we did this little bit here on The Daily was that they're all phrases that maybe we've used with our friends when we're feeling relaxed, that you wouldn't really use at work or anything like that. And then Andii's taking them and putting them into an artistic performance, and people are loving it.
Yeah.
It's
just been really fun because it is a lot of different things all thrown together with comedy, music, costumes. It's a big show. I'm like a showgirl in Nanaimo.
Okay.
It's like a Vegas show, one woman.
It's been a pleasure to meet you. You can find out more about Randii Andii through her website, and you can get little snippets of her performances. She's got a lot posted up there on YouTube. And also purchase copies of her newest and first CD, where you can hear firsthand what we've been talking about, and then you can understand why we're not sharing more of it with you on this edition of The Daily. We're going to throw things over now to our next installment of Big Summer. We're heading to Quesnel for some horseback riding. I don't know if you'd see a costume like that at Triple J Ranch in Quesnel. You never know. The after parties and the barn dances, you just might see a similar costume to that. This is Randii Andii. We're chatting with her about her costumes. We've already shown you all we can from her music, which was about 5 words of a song called These Boobs Were Made for Bouncing. The rest on her new CD are 18 plus, and we can't really show them here on TV. I'm holding this paper guitar because this is your next costume in the work?
Yeah, this is in the process of being a costume.
Okay.
So it's a pattern.
I'll hold this part.
Hold this. Okay. Well, I'm turning this into a dress. So there'll be a strap around my neck, and then this will be sewn to a dress.
And will this be out of a fabric?
Yeah, out of fabric.
Okay.
A bunch of different fabrics, and then I'll probably put some strings on it.
I can just imagine the dialogue and the jokes that would go along with you plucking your strings.
And then we'll put this on my head, and I will be a guitar.
We talked about how many costumes Randii has, Randii Andii. More than 50, because there's mix and matches. How often are you creating new ones?
Not that often. Not as often as I'd like. It's a long process, and it's pretty time-consuming and expensive. So I do them when I have an idea, and that's about it.
Okay. Who should come see your shows?
Everybody.
Everybody.
No children. I don't do bar mitzvahs. I mean, it's for anybody with a good sense of humor, who wants a good laugh. It might be a little offensive, but you know, if you're open to it, then it's for everybody.
Just lighten up, don't take things so seriously, and go to the dirty place in your head and just have a good time while you're there. That brings us to the end of this edition of The Daily. We'll send you one more time to Randii Andii's website, randiiandii.ca. You can buy a copy of her latest CD and find out where she's performing next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This will be all shiny, I imagine.
Yes.
Lots of sparkles and glitter.
Yeah.